Hi all, as for the design prototype stage, I did some user investigation. As the app is mainly focused for students and housewives to manage their expenses, and the housewife of Southeast Asian country as they are responsible person in the house for shopping and managing expenses. As a as the targeted user, the housewife from Southeast Asian country are not so tech savvy. So I will develop a very simple application so it is easy for them to use. I interviewed three potential users for my application. As a result, which I have designed my application. The first potential user is Sojani. I told about her my application I'm going to develop and I asked what she would be looking in it so it will be useful for her as Sojani manages the expenses of her house and is a registered nurse in Australia. She knows well about technology and was very clear about her requirement. As Susanny was also helping her family back home, she wanted to record the expense amount in different currencies. She also wanted to record where the expenses was made, along with the amount of expenses made, and she wanted to record the expenses by taking photos of ducats. The second user is Durga, as she is a simple housewife and not so tech savvy. Her requirements were very simple. Durga wanted a very simple application with very little pages. She wanted to see total amount of expenses made after making entry. She wanted the application to display total amount of expenses made and for what it was made, and also wanted to see total expenses made in a week. She also wanted the application to remind her to enter expenses made each day if she forgets to do so. And the third user is Regina, as she works in a bank. Her requirement was a bit different. She wanted the application where she can create her account and log in with password for security reasons. She wanted to store her loyalty cards, her bank cards in the application. She wanted to see the application made in graphical representation, and she also wanted to compare previous month expenses with this month and see where her expenses were increasing and where it was decreasing so she can manage well all her expenses. So according to their requirement, I designed my application. I try to keep it very simple so the main targeted users can use it without any difficulties. So this will be the first page. So here we enter the username and password to log in, and after we log in we go to the second page, and there we can enter the amount and the title for what the expenses was made. And we can also, this is the third page where we can see the total expense, like the total expenses made and for what the expenses were made. This will be the fourth page. In this page the application will show total expenses made in this week, and it will also let us know the date of expenses made and the date and day of the expenses made and for which the expenses was made. Like here it was made on 1st of 2nd of 2018, which is Friday, and the total expenses is $80, and that $80 is total is the sum of $50 and $30 made in electricity and food. So this will be the fifth page in which the application will show the total expenses made in a month. So the total expenses in the month is like $505, and it will show us the expenses in graphical representation in a bar diagram. Here $150 is spent on rent, $50 on electricity, $100 on food, and $205 on travel. So the total will be $505. And the last page, like it will show the expenses made in different months. So like in Jan we made $200 expenses. In February we we did spend $350. For March we spent $225. April we spent $400. May we spent $450. So like we can see how much we're spending on each month and how our expenses is going, like we are saving or we spending more. Thank you.